incredible.
Fusion reaction.
Oh, hell yeah.
Get to the chopper!
Price go up.
Gigantic fusion reactor that just works.
Multiple income streams and real yield.
Ooh, yeah!
Jeeps can no longer dump on your heads. The revolutionary decentralized finance protocol. Fusion reaction in T-minus 3, 2, 1.
Fusion! You don't know the power.
The math is incredible.
Fusion reaction.
Oh, hell yeah.
The mothership.
And what's it gonna do?
Everybody excited.
Oh, hell yeah.
Give my creation! Fusion.
Get ready to rumble.
Fusion.
Gotta do a huge shout out to Cool Sheet. That song just hits.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to our official EMP Money live stream. We come to you every Thursday at 6:45 p.m. Eastern. I'm AJ, the team lead, and I'm joined always by my co-host with the most and fellow team member, LA. LA, how are you?
Hey guys, I'm good. Happy to see you all here for another great week.
Yeah, 100%. We had a lot of updates. We've had some major success with our Treasury bonds. We're going to give an entire ecosystem update today as well. And before we jump into all that, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. That really helps us get our message out and helps with the algorithm and helps get some more eyeballs on what we're doing. So welcome to all of you. As always, too, if you have questions, please feel free to type them in the chat. We are both on X and YouTube, and those comments should come through at the very end. But overall, we'll start with just kind of an update. The markets have been looking incredible up until a few hours before stream. It never fails. It feels like, we usually see a dump around the time that we stream. But some FUD with Elon and Trump. I guess they can't get along. But anyway, again, the market is so manipulated. I think that even at these levels, Bitcoin and crypto overall is still extremely undervalued. Now that we're in a whole new world now where we have institutions and sovereign nations buying Bitcoin and buying crypto, and they're buying it to hold it, not to sell it, which is another big distinction from the playbook of Michael Saylor. These are people that they're not buying Bitcoin to swing trade. They're buying it as a store of value, and inherently that forces the price to go up over time. So I'm still super bullish again. I think it's all short-term volatility. ETH is holding up really well, surprisingly. Again, I really think that we're close to a floor on ETH, even with overall markets going down. Now that ETH has kind of retraced, almost a 2-year cycle. I mean, I can't imagine it going any lower. And there's a lot of bullish news again from institutions buying ETH as well. And so that's important for our ecosystem, as well as most crypto overall, especially altcoins. They really rely on the success of ETH. So again, I think we're in a good spot. We just got to wait out the summer volatility, and I think we're still right on track for everything we've been saying for the last 4 years, that the traditional cycle will see the real bull run starting now, and then topping out later this year, between October and early Q1 of 2026. So all that being said, LA, how about you? Are you just taking it all in? I don't know. It's never a dull moment in crypto, right?
Honestly, I've been so busy today, I didn't even realize things had gone down in the last few hours. It was looking pretty good this morning.
Yeah, no doubt. It's that's how it goes. We look away and here we are. But
But you know what? I
overall,
wouldn't be surprised if this is like some staged fight between the two of them and that they're doing that for a reason and then they plan something else next week. You never know.
yeah, totally. The manipulation is definitely undoubtable. So yeah, we I agree with you. I mean, again, they kiss and make up on Monday and we're flying again. So yeah, just remember, don't let your emotions dictate your portfolio. That's probably the best advice that I could ever give. That if you can master that, then you're usually ahead of 99% of everybody else. So, but all right, let's go ahead and give some updates on bonds. So, our Treasury bonds, we rolled that out last week, and they've been killing it. We are already at I think at the high we were at about 370,000 worth of TVL. We've come down a little bit, but that's just because of the market. And I'll show you a really cool way of seeing this. So bear with me while I start sharing my screen. One moment. All right, so sorry about that. Let me go ahead and pull this up. All right, so there you go, up a little bit more even as we were speaking. So as you can see, the mint price of the bond started at $250, about 0.01 ETH. That will fluctuate by a few dollars up and down as the price of ETH fluctuates. So even now, with the market being down overall, ETH included about 7%. We're really not that far off from the original mint price, and it's a really good way to kind of DCA into treasury bonds. When you see ETH down or the dollar value of the bonds down, that's a really great way to jump in. And if you click this link right here, again, one of the cool things about treasury bonds is that we are fully transparent. So you can see all the positions of the bonds right here. So let me pull this up. And this is a really cool metric that should make all of you super bullish. So ETH overall is down about, I'd say what over the last 24 hours about 7% as of this moment. The fund itself is only down about 2% overall. So this is bullish because we always keep some money in stables, and because we're concentrated liquidity farming, we always have exposure to the other side of the coin, literally, of whatever we're providing LP for. So again, it helps mitigate the risk, and the up and down swings are a lot less because we're diversified in so many different things. I mean, as you can see here, all the positions. They are private vaults, so you're not able to front run us or kind of copy the secret sauce. You don't know the ranges and all that from what makes us different. But it is a step in full transparency. And again, a good example is this Fartcoin position. Again, Fartcoin, everybody laughs, but it really is more than just the meme. They have some real utility behind them, and this position in particular is up today about 10 or 12%. I think they were just listed on Coinbase. So those are the kind of examples that show you with our strategy that we are well diversified and can mitigate a lot of the downside of the overall market while still paying real yield out. And let me go back to the APR. We've been at over 100% APR pretty much from the beginning, and we're still increasing that. So if we go back here, yeah, so you can see we're at 115% APR right now, and that is real yield. Again, some of the other chats today I was looking at, people are saying, is that sustainable? Like, is this too good to be true? And the short answer is yes. I mean, we have been doing this for 3 years. The power of concentrated liquidity providing and earning fees on that, it's what all the major players in crypto are doing. I mean, you are able to earn, between 100 and 200% APR sustainably, and that is purely real yield from fees that are generated. So, I think everybody was just overwhelmed getting involved in the vaults themselves. And now we've provided the easy button for all of you. But the short answer is yes. I mean, bear market, bull market, as long as there's volume and people buying and selling crypto, then we are getting that real yield, and the APR is very, very sustainable. So, LA, anything you want to add to that? I'm happy to go over. I know in the last AMA we did a full tutorial, so we can point people there. But anything else?
Yeah, I actually want to pull up this comment that you were just referring to. Like, how is 110% APR on bonds sustainable? What I was hoping you could go over in regards to that comment is actually how the APR works, like the fact that it's not a locked-in APR, the fact that you are putting the funds from the bonds into the vaults, and just explain some of that nitty-gritty so that they understand how the APR works, and that listed APR is not a set APR. And also, if you can kind of go into, they can hold the bonds as long or short as they like.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a lot to unpack there. But I'll start one bit at a time and just remind me if I forget anything. But so with our system, the bonds, this is how the bonds work, just to give a high level overview. The ETH that you deposit into bonds, and like Ellie said, you can withdraw anytime. There is a 10% withdrawal fee, but that just is to mitigate people from manipulating the fund itself. Again, we don't want people swing trading just daily on this. So, and again, even at these levels of APR, 1 month, then you basically have your fee back anyway. And that 10% doesn't go to us; it goes to everybody in the bond. So, you almost want people to exit early because it is more for everybody else. So, that being said, like I said, when you deposit ETH, we then take that ETH. Again, this is all done through smart contracts and the infrastructure that we have built with DEX5 vaults. And it is applied to different LP positions. So to really understand how sustainable the APR is, you have to understand what LP providing is to begin with. So what it is especially with V3 concentrated liquidity, which is all that we do, you select a range that you're willing to sell or buy your crypto at. And then again, just to give an example of say, ETH and USDT, and say right now ETH has been trading in between, say, $2,300 and $2,500, and you're able to set those ranges to provide liquidity for that asset. And so what happens is the tighter that range is, the more fees you're getting. So, say you have a really tight range and the exchange we're providing LP for does $1 million of volume that day. And they get 0.1% of all the swaps. That's like what, 10 grand. So if we have a very tight range, we get a large majority of the swap fees of that 10 grand a day because we have a tight range. And vice versa. Sometimes if you're too tight, then you get what's called a permanent loss. So it's very, very complicated, and the vaults have made that as easy as possible. But with our expertise, being in DeFi and crypto full time for 10 years, we're able to maximize the returns. And so the short answer is, again, you're essentially providing liquidity to be part of these dexes themselves on Base and on Sonic. We farm on Aerodrome, Uniswap, SwapX, Shadow, all the big exchanges on Sonic and Base, and then we get a cut of those fees for providing liquidity. So when I say real yield, again, I think people that term is still used too often. I think when in my mind, real yield is like a business where we're earning from fees that are generated. It has nothing to do with borrowing and lending or taxes. In my mind, that all of that is not real yield. We're actually getting part of the fees that the exchanges share with all their LP providers. So I know it's kind of long-winded, but does that help, LA? And then I'm going to show some examples as well here. Yeah.
Yes. And then if you can just take that one step further and then explain that is then why there's no locked in APR, because we're earning real yield and it's based on those fees that are collected.
Yeah, 100%. So, again, the APR looks really good right now. But at any moment, if the volume is not there, maybe people only trade $100 worth of fart coin, then the APR will go down dramatically. So yeah, it all has to do with volume, and that's why the APR will fluctuate. But regardless, I mean, these we're so diversified into 30 different vaults rather than just one, that the APR should be very consistent. And if anything, the APR may even go up uh, over time as the fund grows, because it's a little different. Usually in V2, like LP farming, there is a reward token, and the more capital that you have in, the less return you get because you get diluted. That is not the case with concentrated liquidity. So you're not reliant on a reward token. You're getting actually part of the fees every single day, in actual ETH or actual fart coin. So again, I keep using that as an example because it's funny. But let's go here and look.
I just want to add one more thing. So
Please, yeah.
the benefit of this and getting involved in the bonds is that getting into the vaults can be quite complicated to do it well if you're doing it on your own and you're not incredibly experienced. So being that AJ and Jake and the guys who are incredibly experienced with decades of experience in crypto to manage these vaults, they can optimize things and diversify, select the appropriate ranges, select the appropriate vaults, and they're constantly monitoring it. And so if there is a vault that starts underperforming, they can assess the situation and potentially shift to a different vault. And so that's why there's always diversification and constant monitoring to make sure to optimize the results in the fund so that bondholders are earning as much APR as possible and that we can be as consistent as possible.
Yeah, great point, LA, and you're 100% right. I mean, that is the secret sauce. I mean, hedge funds and DeFi specific, you know, uh, uh, family offices, or again, the big guys, that manage multiple millions of dollars. This is what they do to create revenue. I mean, it's what all the big players have done forever. But it takes a lot of skill and a lot of knowledge to even know that this is a thing. And that was the whole reason why Jake originally built DexFi, and why we were so bullish on DexFi, is that it really simplifies it. So, you again, I implore all of you to use ChatGPT or YouTube and just ask it about concentrated liquidity providing, CLP. It will tell you a wealth of things, and really explain it probably way better than I can on why it is sustainable. And it's how all the big guys are making their money, and have been for a while now. So we're just offering this now in a much easier way of getting involved and putting the capital to work. So all right, I just want to show this really quick. So again, when people think how is this sustainable, then you look at something like this and it gets even more mind blowing. Right now, the daily percentage is 1.1%, in terms of rewards for providing LP on Fartcoin ETH. So as you can see, that is 600% APY, or compounded. So the numbers can get insane. However, tomorrow maybe this number is 0.1%. So it does fluctuate heavily, and that is purely based on the volume, that people are swapping in and out of those particular assets. Now, that being said, even though this is Fartcoin, and we try not to really speculate on shit tokens, you can see that there is $1 million of liquidity on Fart ETH. So that again is indicative that it really isn't a shit token. Obviously, any kind of LP that we provide, we do it when there's at least 500K of liquidity. But again, it's a double-edged sword. The higher the liquidity, the safer it is, in terms of risk. But if we have $100,000 in this, then we get 10% of all the fees that are generated from it. So the more you put in on smaller liquidity tokens, the more fees you generate, and that's why a daily percentage can be so high. But then I'll show you a more conservative example. Let me find. Bear with me here. Hang on one sec. All right, here we go. So again, this is very low risk. So ETH BTC, providing liquidity on base for ETH and BTC together. As you can see, liquidity is 25 or 23 million. Lots of TVL. But this particular example is a lot less. So now you're at 0.2% daily. 122 APY, because you're in a lot less riskier assets. There's a lot more liquidity in that LP, and the volume is spread out among many users. So, but taking these two examples again, one at 1% daily and one at 0.2% daily, you can see that because of the diversification and being in 30 different vaults rather than just one or two or 10, that is how we come to an average, of that 100 to 200% APR. So it really is sustainable. The numbers don't lie, and because we're fully transparent, again, if you go here, you can literally see where the money is coming from. So, again, these are all of our positions. But if you go here, and again, nobody has done this. Literally, has showed the wallets that are in our on chain. So, as you can see here, again, if people are minting bonds, that shows up as a mint. That is the ETH coming in, and then the deposits are us going into the different vaults, and then you can even see the withdrawals. Let me find an example here. Hang on. Yeah, so we don't withdraw very often, so it may be hard for me to find here. But you would see an execute, or withdraw, oh, here we go, claim. So here you're going to see one right here. Perfect. All right, so this is one of the vaults that we claimed, and you can see we had 100 or 1,300 in USDC and $75 in ETH. So again, that is the profit taking execution. And then one below it again, another 300 in USDC. So every few hours we claim the profit. When I say we, I mean the smart contract. And then that is what is used to pay everybody out. So again, going back to here. Oh, one more hand. Going back to here, when you buy a bond, once you're in, you will start getting USDC rewards every hour, or every even less, depending on how many bonds that you have. And then we refill that every Friday. So the whole ecosystem works in epochs. Every Friday we will fund the distribution contract with all the profits. So you may even see the APR go up on Fridays, but then that is dripped out to you over the week. So it's not like you're getting all paid out in one shot on Fridays, but that's when we re-up the contract. So yeah, I mean, that was a great overview, LA. We didn't even really go into that much depth on the original tutorial, but did that help? I mean, if you
That
want
was
to end,
great. They got some
yeah.
really behind the scenes inside knowledge. And you're right. Like, there's no one else who's going to show all of this. And it's really cool that you can see exactly how the rewards are generated down to a T. And so, there's no Ponzonomics, there's none of that. It's real yield. And you can look behind the scenes at exactly what's happening whenever you want.
Yeah, absolutely, LA. And again, it's only a matter of time. I mean, we've even been in some discussions already with white labeling this service, and having other protocols and other teams utilize this to support their token. I mean, we do it with Broke No Mo on Pulse. So this flywheel is really starting up again. And if any tokens have treasuries, they can actually put those treasuries to work and have up to 100 to 200% APR feeding their token. And that's what we do. I mean, again, everybody said, well, why don't you do this for EMP? We do this for EMP. This is how we have sustained for 3 years during a perpetual bear market. And this is a proven success. I mean, we definitely had some road bumps, and right now, a lot of the yield goes to peg recovery. But once we do hit peg, this system, again, with our own treasury, will fund Fusion rewards on top of everything else. Other revenue streams, our game, our affiliates, all that, our deck swaps, all of that will go towards Fusion. So again, this gives you a really great base. And again, a look behind the scenes, like LA said, and we've always wanted to offer this to the public. We just never took the time to develop an actual smart contract around it. And so now we have, and you know, I think it's amazing because it's always been here. Like the vaults have always been here, but nobody really understood the power of them until we had this easy button, and now people finally are getting it, I think, and know, holy shit, DexFi built something truly amazing. And yeah, I mean, to have almost 400 grand in a week, I think we're gonna attract a lot of capital into this for sure. Cool.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
totally agree.
All right. Awesome. Anything else, LA, before I go back?
Not that I can immediately think of, but I'm sure we'll have some questions towards the end.
All right. Hang on one second. Let me get my notes back. All right. So, again, along with this, it also plays into our recovery efforts and recovery fund. So we are starting to, make everybody whole from the original hack. Um, I think that'll happen a lot quicker than people realize, especially as the treasury bonds grow. So we did individual AMAs with people that were affected, but if you were affected from the original hack, you can go to the escrow tab and you should see your credit there. And then we pay that out every Friday as well. Actually, let me just go ahead and pull it up while I have it here. Bear with me. All right, so you're gonna go up to the very top. You hit the three dots and you go to USDEX. So if you had funds in the vaults prior to the issue, then you will have a credit amount here. It will already be staked for you, and every Friday you will get a payout to be able to claim. So and you're paid out in USDC. So again, not financial advice, but a great thing to do. Not only to help yourself, but to help the ecosystem is whatever you're paid out. And obviously, I know some of you have bills, or maybe you don't like us anymore, which is fine. But you can always take that USDC, buy Ethereum on base, and then go back into uh, the bonds. So then you're earning, even more because that escrow doesn't count against what you earn in bonds. So, and if you have an issue with that, just open a ticket in Discord, and we're happy to help. Do it in the DexFi Discord for sure.
And then can you please explain how the profit percentages work from the bonds to then pay back the compensation fund?
Yeah, absolutely. So everything is in our docs, but right now it's currently a 50-50 split, and all the fees from the vaults and everything that we have as a team, we're putting it right back into the payment efforts. So obviously we have to keep enough to pay for development, but any overage goes right back to people. And honestly, I just had a discussion with Jake today. We're having such success with the bonds so far. And again, the more TVL in the bonds, the faster this process happens. Let me go, it's right in here, but we're probably going to put this into a sliding scale as well. So let me see. Mm, all right, I can't find it right now, but it's in here somewhere. It's a 50-50 split, but if we can get over 500 K TVL, we may reduce that split a little more, and it's still paying out everybody just as fast, but even makes the bonds that much more attractive as well. So we're looking into that, but eventually, once everybody's paid back, that split goes away. And so, if we can pay everybody back within the next few months, then the APR will go even higher. in the bonds, because everybody's made whole, and more can go to those that hold the NFT. So no matter how you look at it, it's super bullish. And even with that split, we're extremely competitive. No other automated system is offering the sort of APR that we can achieve. So that's really, really powerful. All right, does that help, LA?
And then after the compensation fund has been fully paid out, it moves to an 80-20 split, correct?
Yeah, that is the final number is an 80-20 split. And again, even with the white labels or anything we do moving forward, that would be the lowest that we go, or the highest, I guess, depending on how you look at it. And that 20% is what provides revenue indefinitely on top of our own individual treasuries to EMP, eShare, and GDEX. So again, the more TVL in the bonds, the more revenue all of our core tokens will receive. And again, when I say EMP, I mean payouts and Fusion, and then eShare for sure. Yeah. And I think too, just funny you say that. I think GDEX staking is live again. So if you have GDEX, check that out as well. I think that just went live like an hour before AMA.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. All right. Anything else? Again, sorry, I keep going back and forth.
Maybe just a very quick tutorial on how to mint a bond.
Yeah, absolutely. So you do need funds on base. So I love Rhino Bridge. And we can post some links to this. But if you had, say you had funds on, you didn't see I was just bridging earlier today for the SwapX pre-sale. So let me go back to bridge again. Hang on one sec. All right, so we'll post a link in the description for all this. But Rhino is amazing. So if you had ETH on BSC or on Ethereum mainnet, whatever it is, you can do asset to asset bridging. So say you had ETH on Ethereum, so you would hit Ethereum, and then you would choose ETH or USDC or USDT, whatever you have. And then you can choose ETH on base. So you can go ETH to ETH on different networks, and the fee is super duper low. So again, this is probably the highest fee there is because it's ETH mainnet. But even that, you're looking at what does that work out in dollar value? I don't know, 0.00001 ETH. So super affordable and lightning fast. I love Rhino. That's our new favorite bridge for sure. So that's how you get over. And then I also recommend Llama Swap. Let me pull that up. All right, so this is Llama Swap. This is actually an aggregator, so it looks at all the exchanges and gives you the best price. So if you had ETH or if you had USDC on base because of your rewards, you can come here and then again just type in ETH and USDC, and then that's how you can swap to get more ETH to actually buy a bond. So, and again, you just hit the max, and then usually the first one is the best. So Odos or CalSwap or Whatage are all usually good, but whatever you see as the first is usually the best route. So again, those are the lifesavers, Rhino Bridge and Llama Swap. And then again, you go back to the mint page. and then all you have to do is connect your wallet. Again, if you're on Rabby, it will automatically connect you to Base. If you're on MetaMask, you just need to make sure that you have Base selected, and then however many NFTs, 1, 2, 10. I think the max is 150 per transaction. So if you want more than 150, just do it twice. So and then yep, mint, and then it will automatically show up right here as staked. And then in order to be paid every week or every day, leave it staked. If for whatever reason you have one that isn't, make sure that you have everything staked. It'll show up. If your balance is 0, then you're good to go. Um, but if you do want to cash out, you do need to unstake. So again, if you want to cash out a bond, you just unstake however many you have, and then go to the redeem tab down here, and that's where you can redeem. So that's another really cool feature about us. We don't have a peer-to-peer marketplace because typically with a peer-to-peer, you have to actually have a buyer on the other side, and sometimes it's good because you can get a big discount, but other times you have to wait like weeks to get your money out if there are no buyers. So with our system, it's just redeeming right from the treasury. This wallet, again, you'll see eventually when people do start redeeming, you'll be able to see on chain through that DBank link I showed where the money goes, but you just redeem for 90% of the value within 48 hours. So you do have to wait a little bit for the funds to be withdrawn from the wallet, and then we pay it to your wallet. So all right, awesome. Yeah, again, full overview. LA, was that what you wanted me to say,
Yeah,
or what I
that was
say?
great. Yep.
Okay. All right, awesome. Let me get back to the notes again. Hang on one second. All right, we're moving right through it. Yeah, the other thing we talked about a little bit was the vaults themselves, but yeah, I mean, I showed it on camera earlier. I won't switch back again, but we already have $1.3 million overall in the vaults. And again, if you are a little more advanced user then and you are familiar with concentrated liquidity providing, then I encourage all of you to try the vaults on your own. I mean, full self custody, automate the AILM can help you manage your liquidity. That is what the bread and butter of the vault has and always or is and always has been um, outside of the bond. So, but the vaults have been killing it again. Like I said, we're back up to 1.3 million. Almost half the TVL than what we had, when there was an issue. So, and that doesn't even include the TVL of GDEX. So, we're real we're we're ahead of schedule. Put it that way. So, all right, awesome. And then yeah, LA. This is a more your department, our shared department. AMAs. We're back on the AMA train. So
Yeah.
I know you posted a great video, and I think he's here. Crypto Pride did a great video. I know
Yes.
Thomas G with Right to Riches and Richie, Crypto Richie Mischief, Crypto Mischief.
And he's
Richie, yeah.
super bullish on the bonds. I saw him writing in one of our other groups about how he's loading up.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think people really are seeing the potential here. Speaking of Richie, him and I and Jake, all three of us, we go way back. I mean, we've been in this game for a long time, and we have some bullish news that we're gonna hopefully be able to announce within the next few day even that involves Richie as well. So keep an eye out for that. But yeah, I mean, everybody that really fully understands what we're doing with bonds are really bullish. We also did an AMA with Dow King. That went really well. He has some guys that are part of his crew that really are excited about it. And, you know, like I mentioned earlier, I think we're going to see a lot of projects use the bonds or the vaults to actually provide yield for their token. So, I mean, that is a game changer. And if we see that really scale, then, you know, we could easily have 10, 20, 30 million in TVL in the vaults for sure. Cool. All right. Awesome. All right. Some other ecosystem update. Well, and one last thing on the AMAs. We have one more tomorrow. With Crypto Kings, our Aussie, our friend from down under. Will be on his channel tomorrow, and another AMA with Thomas G and Wreck to Riches on Sunday. And then I have a few more private whale groups in the meantime as well. So we're full on marketing again and getting more and more people involved. So all right, and then legacy contracts again, just a full circle with an entire ecosystem update. I talked to the devs today. Now that bonds are out the door, I have been promised that the entire week next week they will be working on the detonator migration and the USDT battery migration. So again, we don't have a definitive date yet, but it is the full-time priority for next week of getting that finished. So we're almost there. Again, I appreciate everybody's patience, and then we can put that all behind us and continue moving forward. So LA, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, it's good news. I mean, we've gotten official word that it's their number one sole priority all of next week. And so I'm sure they're going to make major headway. And then whenever we have a definitive date or timeline for exactly when that's going to be finished, we'll definitely let you guys know. Obviously, you know, we don't like to predict it because it doesn't always happen the way that you predict it. And so what we can say, though, is they're going to be working on it full force all of next week, which is exciting news.
Awesome. All right, absolutely. Yeah, and again, I know all of you are patiently waiting for that, so it is our number one priority. We just had to get bonds finished because that is what generates revenue to pay for everything. So, all right, awesome. All right, do we want to take some questions, LA, or anything else you want me to go over that we may have skipped? Yeah.
Yeah. How about this one right at the bottom? For how long will the bonds be there? It surely can't be forever, it says.
Yeah, so that is the crazy thing. The short answer is yes, it can be there forever. And, the sustainability is in the variable APR. So, the proof is in the pudding. We've been utilizing vaults for literally 3.5 years, through the bear market. What would change is the actual pools. So when we do get into a bear market, then we can start providing liquidity for more blue chip assets and even stable tokens, USDT to USDC, or any of the other obscure liquid staking stables. A lot of those even stable pairs can do 20, 30% APR. So it would never go to zero, it would just go down in a bear market, and at that point you can choose to be happy with a lower APR or exit. And by then, if you're getting in now, or even if you get in late, so to speak, as long as you're in for at least a month, you should be able to make your withdrawal fee back. So again, the answer is it is sustainable. And, the whole AMA, we went over why. It is no Potsonomics, no voodoo magic. You're literally earning fees. So the only way that this would die or everything would go to zero is if there was no more trading of crypto. Because as long as there's swap fees happening, we're making money on the LPs. So if you think that crypto is going away, then it may not be for you. But I don't see crypto going anywhere.
Awesome.
Cool. All right. Let me scroll back. Yeah, I don't know if you want to go through to LA.
I will. And there's also some in the Discord. So I'll pull those up.
Yeah, a lot of these we went over.
Most of it is just about the legacy migration. So my journey asks, are you saying that if you were affected by the hack, you'll see credit tomorrow?
Yeah, so again, if you were in the vaults personally, like you had your wallet connected to the vaults and you had a position in any of the vaults, yes, you will be getting credit in that escrow token that I showed, and you will not be paid in full on every Friday, but you will get again a portion of what everybody's owed. So it is fair distribution where say we're able to do $10,000 a week in paybacks, depending on how big of a position you had, you would get 1% of that or 10% of that, depending on how big your position was. So it's still a long road. Full payback to everybody could be 6 months or more. But if we get, like I said earlier, if we get $1 million plus in TVL in the bonds, then it could be just a few months and everybody's made whole. So everything is variable, nothing is guaranteed. We're just doing everything we can to recover from all this and pay people an incredible APR, along the way. So it's absolutely everything that we envisioned so far.
Yes, love it. Okay, let's see what else there is here. Mega Buddy asks, why did your team go from EMP V1 to EMP V2?
Yeah, that's a good question, Mega Buddy. So, the whole point of V1 to V2 was a couple of things. We needed to streamline all that we were doing, and we've talked about this a lot, where liquidity is a double-edged sword. High liquidity is great for people to be able to get in and out, but it can be a detriment with a lot of dead capital not working and generating revenue. And it's a lot harder to recover peg or to pump the price of a token when there's a lot of liquidity. So we made the strategic decision to migrate to V2. We reduced some of that liquidity and put the liquidity to work again through our treasury to generate more yield. And then we can slowly add that liquidity back as we simultaneously increase the price of EMP and get back to peg. So a lot of it was done again based on creating healthier economics, and also with Fusion, we had a whole new system with Fusion, making EMP a capped supply. So that really is the biggest reason that we went from V1 to V2. Technically, EMP-V1 was still mintable through the boardroom, and we just didn't want to have people thinking that we redid all of our economics where we were no longer a seigniorage protocol, and EMP was no longer and is no longer inflationary. And in order to guarantee all of that, and from a smart contract standpoint, we had to create a new token, and now it's a fixed supply, no additional, mintable code, and everything is transparent. And now the only way to get paid is through Fusion. So, we're moving forward with all that. So hopefully that helped answer.
Awesome. Let's see what else there is. Looks like that is mostly it because everything else has been answered. There's a couple here at the bottom. How much is owed to fully pay back everyone so we can get 85% in rewards?
Yeah, so we published those numbers in the previous if you go back through the pins. Again, off the top of my head, I think total liability with everything was right around $1 million. But we've already made some headway on that, and that number, it sounds a lot bigger than it is. I mean, again, we could be doing 100 grand a month in yield, just with the split. If we can get larger TVL in the bond. So again, I don't want to misspeak. And when you're on camera, everybody holds you to it, but you can see the total liability number in the pinned messages in our Telegram or Discord.
Awesome. And then it was 80%, by the way, not 85. He says also now with bonds out there, is there a reason to get into Fusion since bonds look better with APR? What's the incentive to get into Fusion?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. I love that we're here to answer everything. So the short answer is yeah. I mean, right now the bonds are definitely a better play, and there's nothing that we can say to not be misleading on that. However, Fusion has always been the long game. So Fusion is very different because you get exposure to about 8 different revenue streams. So the bonds are just the concentrated liquidity providing. So in theory, once Fusion is finally up and running at full speed, and we are back at peg, and there is no more EMP to even be had because everything is in Fusion, the APRs could go ridiculous inside of Fusion. And, Fusion is essentially owning a part of our, entire conglomerate. So, our game, Universe Madness, that is going to 10% of all the revenue goes to Fusion from that. If we're doing $2 or $3 million a year, just from the game, that is a massive amount of rewards going into Fusion, and you could see APR, literally at 500% in Fusion once all the revenue streams are live. So the short answer is, right now, absolutely bonds are paying better, but long term, EMP and EMP Fusion has way more upside potential in terms of passive income than bonds. So, and it's also bear market resilient. So, if bonds go down, if the APR on bonds go down, because when a bear market, a lot of the other revenue streams feeding Fusion are not reliant on the bear or bull. So again, the game is a great example. Usually in a bear market, more people play games than not, and we're going heavily after the Web 2 market that doesn't even care about crypto. So that's just one example. And a great strategy would be, again, not financial advice, but maybe putting some money into bonds now and then taking some of that profit and maybe buying half EMP and half more bonds. So it's also a great way to fill your bags along the way in the short term. So bond short term, EMP, and Fusion long term.
Yeah, and then also just to add, there is still a 3.3 peg bonus, and so to
Yes.
DCA into Fusion now, you still get a peg bonus, and then in the future when we are back into peg and when all the revenue streams are fully loaded and running, and also once this has been paid back and our treasury is built back up and we can add additional revenue to rewards and do our second wave of marketing, if you've been DCAing in all along with a peg bonus, then that's when you start to really reap the fruits of your labor.
Yeah, couldn't have said any better, LA. Again, the whole idea with Fusion is the delayed gratification. and building your bags while we're on recovery mode, to then really reap those benefits. And again, I mean, it can happen overnight. I mean, we get a real bull run, ETH goes back up, all of our external investments and yield start kicking in. We get to peg and we start paying great APR in Fusion in a matter of days, if all that comes together. So yeah, and again, there's no right or wrong answer for anything. Grover says it great. It's good to diversify. I mean, yeah, we always preach that. Never go all in on one thing. It's great that you can have these options. And the cool thing is that whether it's bonds or fusion or GDEX or anything under our umbrella, it all feeds the ecosystem. So no matter what you get into, you're still helping the overall goal for sure. Cool. All right. Anything else, LA? I don't know. I don't see any more, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't see any more either. If you guys have any more questions, definitely please let us know.
All right, well, we'll start wrapping it up. I don't know if we get a few more at the end here. I'll take them, but yeah, the short answer is, we're definitely back on track. Marketing will start happening again. Peg is and was looking a little bit better. I know that we had a few whales that don't get the long game, and obviously that hurts the price a little. But those of you that can buy at those levels are getting the peg bonus, and that's why it's designed that way. So, when you do see a dip, it's a great opportunity to get even more value out of it in Fusion. Our giveaways have been going well. We did meet our goal, at least that we're on a sliding scale now. We met the lower end of the scale, but we still met it last week. So let's try to meet it again this week. And we're working on a few other cool ideas, to continue to incentivize eShare and EMP, and everything else. So keep an eye out for that. Even bonds, we may end up implementing a leaderboard for bonds as well, and give away some GDEX, EMP, or eShare. So all of that is in the works. And yeah, I mean, we never stop. So that's one thing I can promise. I can't guarantee, price and future results, but I can guarantee that we're never gonna give up, and we're building our asses off, even with half the dev team that we had previously. So we're getting there. It's all happening. So all right. All right, is that it, LA? Any final words? Feel free.
Yeah, maybe you can just address the last comment because it's not necessarily accurate.
Yeah. So, oh, wait. I'm not sure, but I don't think we remove the reward as have sacrifice the EMP we never hit. Good since I don't even know what that is. What's he saying, LA?
So we adjusted the competitions because the community was consistently going after cheap microgrids as opposed to new fresh EMP deposits, and we consistently for 4 or 5 weeks in a row were not hitting our goals, and it got to the point where we would have been paying out more than what was actually sacrificed in a week. And so obviously we can't do that. So we adjusted the competition to be on a sliding scale depending on how much is sacrificed basically. And so it's not removing the reward that stopped us from hitting the goal. It's the opposite way around, but we are always working behind the scenes. We have help from some really bright minds. Grover and John have been such a big help with brainstorming and coming up with ideas and implementing them quickly. And the new structure for the competition has majorly upticked the EMP sacrifices from what they were even 3 or 4 weeks ago. So we're going to keep building back up and keep, slowly ticking away.
Yeah, thanks, LA. Sorry, I was you explained it a lot better. I was very confused with what that person meant. But yeah, I mean the short answer is we gave away since we started our leaderboard competitions, we've given away around $100,000 worth of EMP. So the incentive is definitely still there, and we would give away 10 times that amount if people were still sacrificing. So the whole idea is that we just had to realign and put it on a sliding scale so that, like Ella said, we were not giving away more value than what was going into Fusion itself. So, and again, like I mentioned earlier, both with the migration credit and any giveaways that we do, that is EMP that the Treasury has already accounted for. It is not minting new EMP. It's not giving rewards out of thin air. So we can't just we can't just give it away forever. I mean, at some point there is no more EMP. So all of that is part of why we did what we did.
And it's not gone anywhere. If like it's on a sliding scale, so maybe you can look at some of the old pins, because I'm sure Grover pasted it. Maybe Grover, you could paste it again in the EMP chats, but it's not gone away. If we hit our full target every week, there will be full prizes. But this way, even if there's lower amounts of EMP, but we're still hitting thresholds, we're still giving away prizes every week. So it's actually a much better structure. I think you're just not fully understanding how it works.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely join our Telegram or Discord. We're happy to break it down for you. But the simple answer is more sacrificing of EMP and Fusion and more rewards everybody gets. So and again, I mean that's the whole point of the why we did this incentive is the more EMP that is off the market and now inside of Fusion, building microgrids, that is a win-win for everybody because now we're getting more into that supply shock zone where EMP does recover peg and stays there, and at some point there is no more EMP left to be purchased because everything is inside of Fusion. So yeah, when you break it down to the simplest math, the more we're sacrificing, the better we're all helping our own bags. So cool. Okay. All right. I think that's it then. So all right, LA, we'll try again. Any final words of wisdom or
Yeah.
encouragement? Yeah.
Yeah, just remember where you're going. I know it's easy to be short sighted occasionally when things dip, or even when things are flying high in the market and there's big sudden changes, or, when your patience wears thin. But keep your eye on where you're going. It has tremendous impact on getting you there quicker. And the more you focus on what you're building and what you're creating and why you're doing it, the closer you will get quicker. And so it's all about the consistent actions we take every day and every week. And that includes how we choose to think about the world in front of us, because the world you see in front of you is a direct reflection on what's going on in your own head. And so if you want more in life, if you want to have more positive results in your life, change the way that you're thinking slowly, just one thought at a time. That's my little tidbit of advice for the day. But as usual, thank you guys so much for joining us, and we appreciate you immensely. And it's always exciting for us to be here giving you updates on what's going on in the ecosystem.
I love it, LA. Yes, you're a vital part of the team for many reasons, but one of those reasons is your amazing outlook and positivity. I saw an article the other day that's very appropriate to what you just said, is that a negative mindset actually changes the biological composition of how your brain works. So try to be positive. Again, we're not here for rainbows and sunshine all the time. Obviously, we stay realistic, but having a positive attitude is really a game changer. And in my situation personally, for those that I mean, that is what I consider my superpower is just having a positive attitude. You can accomplish anything with that mindset. So
Agreed. And you're the best example of it. I mean, you
yeah,
did 10 times more than the average person.
100% LA. Well, I appreciate that. So yeah,
Final tidbit on that though, because I'm a
yeah,
nerd, but look
yeah.
it up, guys. It's been scientifically proven in numerous scientific studies that your brain doesn't know the difference between imagining that you're doing something and actually doing it. And so the problem is that most people have the same thoughts over and over again every day, and the majority of them are negative. And so the brain doesn't know the difference between you just thinking it and it being so. And so the more you loop those negative thoughts, the more you create those negative things in front of you that you're thinking about. And so the way to change things is literally just to start forcing yourself to think about positive things as if they're already happening, because your brain literally doesn't know the difference between them physically happening and you just imagining that they're happening. Let that blow your mind for a second.
I love it, man. What a way to end the AMA. Holy cow. So yeah, no doubt, LA. And that's why we have such an amazing crew here. All of our emperors and empresses share in that positive mindset. And yeah, it is a game changer. So all right, I love it. What a way to wrap it up. So again, thank you to everybody that consistently shows up. I know, sometimes you can be frustrated, and that's totally acceptable, but we're never quitting, we're never stopping, and we will get there. I mean, bonds was a major step in the recovery process and what we call the flywheel. You hear me say that a lot. I might do a actual image of what I mean by that, but it's essentially the self-feeding ecosystem that we have built based on real revenue, and once that flywheel starts spinning, it compounds on itself. So we get more and more successful as that flywheel spins up, and that's what's happening. So this is the very beginning of that. We're on the fan is on low right now, but we're going to medium, and then we're going to ultra high very soon. So thank you all for being here. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to join our socials. We'll address them in there or on the next AMA. And stay tuned for even more updates over the next week. Again, legacy migration updates and some other bullish news on some potential advisory roles and partnerships that we are involved in. So, all right, much love to all of you. Remember, we come to you every Thursday at 6:45 p.m. Eastern, and don't forget to join us for our Universe Madness live stream at 8:30 in just a few more minutes. So, all right, good night, good day. We'll see you all next Thursday.